party people at? Where they at?
Get down. Time to get on. It's time to party. Hey, it's time to dance.
Welcome to episode 116 of Amari Purple Talk, a podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Ricahrd Cole, the Amari in Amari Communications, and every episode I break down everything in the world of Prince and all Prince-related music and artists, as well as genres of music that has had a major influence on his art. If you enjoy the contents of this episode, please download and listen, like, subscribe, hit notification bells, share the content with everyone you know, and that will help keep Amari Communications and this program going for many years to come. All right, and with that out of the way, let's get started. Actually, as I was preparing for this episode, I ran across Instagram posts from singer Howard Hewitt, formerly of the group Shalimar. He had the world premiere of his brand new track titled To Thee I Pray. You can find it on his YouTube channel. So look up Howard Hewitt on YouTube. You'll see the video. The video is in memoriam of the lives that were lost in Buffalo, New York, as well as the lives taken away in Uvalde, Texas. Man, it is a very powerful song. Howard Hewitt is one of my all-time favorite singers. He's written some great songs as well with Shalimar, and of course a lot on his own as well. A lot of his spiritual stuff is amazing too. This song as well, I mean, it is very beautiful and juxtaposed with the images in the video. It is very moving, but it's also, cathartic, and hopefully eventually healing, and hope that, it makes a difference with someone. We live in some very crazy times. And again, what's really sad as I've been reflecting on these events, especially with a lot of these schools shootings, people go back as far as Sandy Hook, people go far as back as Columbine. But remember, this stuff has been going on since 1988. Remember, even Janet Jackson had a track on Rhythm Nation, calling attention to this. It's 1988. That's practically 30 some odd years, for, and, this thing, and it's always, whenever something like this, you always have your politicians either side of the spectrum. We have to do something, but nothing really gets done, or what is done, it only does so little. And, a lot of it, all you need is love, give peace a chance, it's going to be more than just saying it, and again, thoughts and prayers and moments of silence, it's going to take a lot more than those things. And I think, as this episode is celebrating the anniversary of the day of Prince's birth, what he's tried to convey, not only through his music, but through example, through his life, through his good deeds, I would think that, he would want us to focus on that as well. As this episode will air, the Prince celebration will be in everyone's rearview mirror. The Prince Immersive experience is still currently going on as well. Individually, if you felt a joy in your life, if you felt like this was something you needed to take you away from all the craziness in the world, or if it helps heal your sorrow or your sadness, nothing will ever bring these lives back. But, we have to continue to honor them by effecting change. And the way to do that, one way, I would say, it's going to take, it's more than one solution to the problem. A lot of the political rhetoric, it's just, look, it's people, it's lives, it's human life. And if you're sworn, if you were elected to uphold that or represent the people or whatever, and you're not beholden to some lobby, if you're not beholden to financial interest, then if you were truly elected to help the people, one way to help the people is to find a way to fix this. Period. And I know there's not one solution. Throwing money at a lot of us isn't going to automatically do it. There's hundreds, if not thousands of years of ripple effects that resonate, that have major influence. All this technology we have, computers, internet, social media, electric cars, computerized cars, self-driving cars, flying cars, billionaires flying in space. It hasn't made a lot of us any more civilized. And, or just throwing a blanket on mental health. Yeah, these are some crazy, deranged people that are doing this. And, in a world where I can probably be shot down for just holding a candy bar in my hand, but someone carrying an assault rifle that's a kid, and some of you have been out there in some war-torn countries where there are 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that are carrying assault weapons that are defending their way of life. And you had to make that decision, you or them, then I'm sorry. Here's the thing. One over here isn't some poor lost kid. And at that moment, if it's life or death, or if the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, then serving and protecting means neutralizing that threat. Now, I'm not condoning violence for violence. Again, all you need is love. I still believe that. Give peace a chance. I still believe that. But at the same time, if it's, defending my family or whatever, you do what you have to do in that decision. It's a life changing. But if you want to save misguided people, then things need to change across the board. There's no one solution that will fix that. But like I said, one of the ways is staying spiritually centered, not giving in to hate, not giving in to entropy. Think for yourself, don't fall for the leaders in the parking meters. Think for yourself. Question what you need to question. Conspiracy theories are conspiracy theories. And information is information, but it's how that information is utilized in your everyday life that makes the difference. There's 7 billion of us all trying to get to the same place. And we're getting there in our own pace, in our own time. But we can help each other on that journey as well. So, with that being said, superiority is a poison, and enlightenment is the key to making this world a better place. As Jay-Z says, I'm not praying for their downfall, I'm praying for their enlightenment. That they get it, that we can be closer to that sort of whatever, like Star Trek, that 23rd century, where we as humanity are working towards the perfection or the betterment to perfection of ourselves, as opposed to, greed and money. And like I said, all of these things that have created the ripple effects, from colonization to slavery to wage slavery, to where things are allowed to happen because there's these little babies that want to hold on to their illusion of power, so to speak. We have to be better. We have to leave this planet better than how we found it. So, check out Howard Hewitt's video. Like I said, it's a very beautiful piece of music. Very insightful lyrics, and the visuals that go along with it are moving. And as you see those faces of those that are unnecessarily no longer here with us, let's have some loving and beautiful thoughts travel to them to help comfort them on their transition. So, that being said, let's go ahead and start today's show. And again, this is the anniversary of Prince's date of birth. And I don't know, not going to bore everyone with whatever my personal memories and whatever. We'll save that for a later date or as different topics arrive in future episodes, if they're relevant. So I do want to start with some quick thoughts on Prince and the Revolution Live. I received my copy from Amazon. It arrived on time. And this package is amazing. I think it's among the best packaging. I mean, everything's great. Welcome to America. That packaging was great. Sign of the Times. Yeah, maybe $19.99 and Purple Rain Super Deluxe are kind of, not that the packaging is bad. I just enjoy the Sign of the Times packaging better, the Welcome to America better. I think they're improving as time goes by, but I think that this standalone release, I know I've been for quite a number of episodes this season, have been championing standalone live releases. So this is the first. And while it wouldn't have been my first choice, they did a damn good job. And this package set the standard. This is the gold standard. I want to see this type of quality in the next standalone live that they do. I don't care what era it is. It could be something from the 80s or the 90s or, the 21st century. If it has this, this is better to me than a lot of the Jimi Hendrix releases. One thing I do, except for the last one, the Live in Maui, that one I think they finally got it right, where you get the CD and you get the DVD packaged together. One of my frustrations with Hendrix releases when it came to, live and CD packages is that a particular show that they're focusing on, it's, you can buy the CD and then you buy the DVD separately. That was always frustrating to me. But with the Live in Maui, To me, that was a step in the right direction for the Hendrix estate. But with Prince, I think especially with the Purple Rain Deluxe starting off. Let's see. No, Sign of the Times. I forgot it has the New Year's Eve show from 1987. Forgot about that. So that they bundled that with the CD box set. There was that. There was also the Welcome to America. If you bought that deluxe edition, the Blu-ray of a concert with that was bundled in there as well. But this in regards to a legendary concert to which you have audio and video with it packaged together, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And like I said, I want to see this with standalone live releases going forward. I noticed on social media, Michael Dean of the Prince podcast or Podcast Juice, his assessment or his comment on social media about Brown Mark's bass, just kind of paraphrasing here. It's the MVP of this set. Because of the remaster, that bass it's in your face for sure. And yeah, just my memories of reading his biography or autobiography. Yeah, a lot of that was justified, and it wasn't like he was trying to be the star. But I think his level of talent was so much that, Prince was probably looking at it like, ooh, this could overshadow me. And usually people in that position, they're just people that it's like, look, I'm not going to let you be bigger than me. It's like, I'm the star. This is my thing. You're the hired hand, whatever, or you're the band member. And you do your job. And it's like he was doing his job, and he does his job very, very well. So, yeah, a lot of those feelings or sentiments, just listening to this alone. And I mean, even with things that have been released, like the live CD from 1999, the Live in Houston. Yeah, you kind of notice the bottom in that. But like I said, the level of sound quality in this Prince and the Revolution live release, they've upped the levels. I guess with the advancements in engineering and mastering that we have now, the way things are mixed and mastered for the level of streaming that we're enjoying currently, as it translates to physical media. This is amazing. And props to even Bobby Z, his unsung work with the live drums and being able to manipulate the lens simultaneously. There's better separation on this remaster, and it's heavier. So with that rhythm section with him and Brown Mark together, this is amazing. I guess to break it down, really CD1, I actually was listening to streaming because I was still waiting, like on that Friday, had to go to the non-essential. So my copy hadn't arrived yet. So on the way to the non-essential, I just played the streaming version. And, I was enjoying it. I'm like, okay, this sounds good. This is good. It is a step up from what was put up on streaming previously. I think around 2020, I think. I don't know. Let me go back a bit with my history of this particular concert. This was originally simulcast back in the day. Before cable really took over the world, so to speak. Not a lot of us had cable. I didn't have cable in those days. The days of 1984, 85. Simulcasting was sort of the big thing. You know, later on it became pay-per-view for cable, but simulcasting was the thing where, you know, someone would have a concert and it would be broadcast all over the country, or in some cases all over the world. I think in this case, Prince was the first, if I'm not mistaken, as far as this type of thing. Just correct me in the comments if anybody did it beforehand. And I'm not talking about Elvis from Hawaii. That was television. That was different. This is radio, so this was a different thing. But I taped the simulcast on the radio, and it wasn't the complete performance. You know, later when I saw the video cassette, like Possessed and Irresistible Bitch, those were omitted from the simulcast. So that was a revelation, and still one of my favorite parts of that video is that performance. But with the simulcast, you know, and you know, this is, like I said, this is the early, you know, we hadn't heard of bootlegs yet. Prince wasn't on that level yet. We didn't know he had a vault then. You know, it was just like, we just thought it was up in the air like everybody else. Like, oh, it's time to make an album, and you just write those songs, and that what ends up on the album. You know, very few people had 1 or 2 tracks left over, or 5 tracks left over. We weren't hip to that stuff then. You know, maybe the people that were in the Beatles and Bob Dylan, yeah, you know, they were hip to bootlegs. Oh, let me correct myself. There's that classic episode of What's Happening where the Doobie Brothers were the guests on the show and preaching about the evils of bootlegging. You know, remember Rerun had that tape recorder in his trench coat, and he's up there dancing and bouncing around, you know, where, you know, Doobie Brothers, oh, Blackwater, keep on moving, and the tape recorder falls out of his out of his trench coat, and it was like everything just stops. And then the next episode, I think it was a 2-part episode, and you know, like I said, they're preaching the evils of bootlegging, and they set a trap for the bootleggers. So, you know, if you run across that episode, it's an enjoyable episode. You know, seeing the Doobie Brothers on a sitcom, and like I said, the evils of bootlegging, boys and girls. You know, thou shalt not tape thou shalt not tape professional artists' recordings. They don't get paid for that stuff. So, I don't know, where am I going with this? So, like I said, you know, this is 1984, so we weren't hip to bootlegs at all in those days. And like I said, so this is sort of like, oh wow, this is something extra to have, because I think we knew it was coming out on video cassette at some point, or maybe it was announced later it was coming on video cassette. So this was everyone's chance to have this performance locked down. So I'm taping the thing, and it's cool. You know, like I said, it was found out later it was kind of edited, but because it was simulcast on radio, and I guess to kind of fight the bootleggers, the radio stations like here in St. Louis, the big one at the time was Magic 108 FM. So like every 10-15 minutes as you're listening to the simulcast, I don't know, I might still have the tape somewhere too, but every 10-15 minutes, Prince and the Revolution live Syracuse, or it would be Magic 108 FM. So, you know, the 80s, folks, being, you know, 19 in the 80s. And like I said, we weren't hip to bootlegs. We didn't know what was up, or we didn't know Prince, you know, would be, you know, would surpass Bob Dylan or Bruce Springsteen as the most bootleg artists of all time. But yeah, I'm listening to the streaming in the car, and it's like, it was an improvement over the crappy cassette I had. Definitely an improvement on the VHS, which I never owned. By the time I managed to have a VCR, I think the video cassette was out of print. by that time, or it was hard to find. So I used to rent it about a billion times. And honestly, the DVD that came with the Purple Rain Deluxe Edition was slightly disappointed in the sound, even with the video. To me, it looked muddier than my memories of the video cassette. So I haven't had a chance to watch the Blu-ray of this yet. But once I do, I might do a quick review or a quick video of my reaction to that. But again, I was listening to the basically CD1. I had listened to at least 95% of that in the car for over like 2 days. Like I said, on the way to the non-essential. But as I was preparing for this episode, I said, well, okay, I've already heard everything on the first CD, so I won't play it. So I just popped in the second CD. And I mean, from the first note, I mean, I was literally out of my seat. I was like, damn, this is, I mean, like I said, this is the gold standard now. This is what I'm going to start judging every live release that they're going to do from this point forward, no matter what era it's in. So even the most recent stuff, and with today's technology, if it isn't on the level of power that this is, I don't know. I don't know, folks. I don't know. The Prince of the Revolution live is squeezing you, kiddo. Yeah, state, y'all better kick ass on future live releases or else. But yeah, I mean, the sound, like I said, I can't even find the words, but crisper, cleaner than, like I said, my memories of the VHS or even my, taped from the radio version. Like I said, props to Bobby Z and his drum work on that. Brown Mark's bass. But yeah, I mean, Wendy. I mean, the guitars, both Wendy's and Prince's guitars to sound a lot better. I mean, I know it was the 80s, and a lot of those, I guess, with the sort of wireless, because before, I think the 80s, everything was, you plugged in, or heck, even bands, we didn't have that fancy stuff. When we were playing, we always still had to plug in, to the amp, or run it through the pedal and then through the amp and the preamp and all this other stuff. None of us, I don't think any of us had, or even the best bands in St. Louis, I don't know if they even had the wireless stuff. But I don't know if they were among the first to have a lot of that, but I don't know. It kind of always struck me as a weird sound. But then is it because of just the engineering technology of both audio and video for that time period? But it just, like I said, the revolution's place in Prince history, there's nothing you can take away from that. Like I said, subsequent bands, whether it's the Sign of the Times Love Sexy Band or the NPG in any configuration, again, as the decades went on, of course, this technology improved. And, even some of the subsequent musicians, maybe they were more, I don't know, can't say more technically proficient, but their tastes were different. Kind of where the revolution is more pop, rock, funk. Subsequent bands were more into jazz or heavier into funk. And that sort of kind of dictated the flow, from the 90s forward. But I think one of the pluses of this Revolution in the Live, Prince and the Revolution Live Syracuse, this remastered release, really just shows how much of a powerhouse that this core collective of the revolution is. There's a lot that I want to say on the revolution, but actually I'm saving that for a future episode. But as a testament to what my thoughts will be on that, this release justifies it. Like I said, I love the parade era version of the revolution. Like I said, again, there's a lot I want to say, but I want to save it for another episode. But just for this alone, like I said, I can't say enough about just how much of a powerhouse this band is. And in some cases, maybe taken for granted. We always, or everything Prince related, whether it's the official podcast or whatever, the majority of it, or books that have been written recently or whatever, it's always revolution. Always talking to Lisa and Wendy, or it's always Eric Leeds, or it's always this person or that person. And I think to the chagrin of people who jumped on to the ship after the revolution, whether it was the 90s or the 21st century, it's to their chagrin. And I don't want to keep sounding like a broken record, but you gotta keep it in hindsight. Like, think of an artist that you're experiencing in real time, relative to your generation, whether it's somebody from the 90s, whether it's somebody currently now, and their first trilogy of albums, and you see this progression of growth. And then there's that one album that becomes their biggest album. It put them on the map. Well, should those artists continue, or if they have continued, and then somebody younger than you jumps on the bandwagon, but it's at album 15, and they may end up going back to play catch up, but because those first 3 albums were relative to your high school or college experience, or whenever you fell in love, or whenever you first did it, or whatever, your first bar mitzvah, your first birthday, your sweet 16, or you're an 8-year-old in the back of your parents' car and you're listening to what your parents are listening to, and it's like, oh, this stuff is great too, I like it, and you become a fan of it, or you just become a fan of it, and at 8, you get your first CD or whatever. It's those memories, that feeling that ties you to it, or it's relative to time, space, whatever. But I think the takeaway, briefly, would be past, present, and future really all run simultaneously. And to use kind of like a David Icke analogy, just think of all of existence as a DVD or a Blu-ray. Everything is encoded in that DVD, the entirety, like the film itself, beginning, middle, end. And then the bonus features also. Commentary. All of that is encoded in that DVD. When you watch the film, the whole entirety of that film exists. But as you're watching it, it's unfolding from beginning to middle to end. So really, us as the Prince musical singularity, as the fan base, as the fam, the purple fam, whatever you want to define yourself as, just think of Prince's career as now that entirety. His entire career is that single DVD. And I guess for some, maybe the pacing of that beginning is a little slow till it gets to the middle, and maybe it picks up. Or, maybe that third act, like maybe say like Infinity War and Endgame, it builds to this certain point, or it has peaks, it has valleys, it has slow points, it has some great moments, some beautiful moments, touching moments. And maybe that third act is that big Avengers Assemble moment, and you know, or you enjoy the whole thing from beginning to end. The pacing never slowed down for you. You know, it's one thrill ride from beginning to end. Either way, it's all cool. It's all good. You know, but what I'm saying in relationship to the revolution, I think we kind of take it for granted, or to the chagrin of people where the 80s aren't their favorite era. It's kind of like, oh, but like I said, this CD release alone, it justifies their place in history, hands down. Another thing I noticed is on the VHS, and I think even my sort of, the taped radio simulcast, you knew there was an audience there. You knew it was a live recording. But what I love about this remaster is that with a lot of the audience response is brought up a little bit more. You pick up those nuances more. I think one thing that stood out to me listening to the second disc is the sing-along part on the Beautiful Ones, where he's going, and if please you baby, please you baby. And it's like a part where he kind of stops and you hear the audience because they know it. They've all seen Purple Rain. I think by that time I had seen Purple Rain like 35 times myself. And like I said, the album, constant rotation. Like I said, I wore my original copy out that I, gave it away to somebody because they were decorating their music room or something. And, I think they hung it on the wall, and then the cover's on the wall too or something, as part of this like big collage of records from every genre or something. And, but I've had the CD forever, and just, Purple Rain Deluxe all through it. But yeah, that was amazing to hear. And like I said, I didn't, even with I think the live in Houston, I don't hear that like from the 1999 Super Deluxe. It's kind of like, there's moments on that where Prince is, like, okay, you sing. And it's like, I don't hear anything, and it's like, they're responding to it. It's just, did he, somebody accidentally mix them out, or they're too low in the mix. But you don't have that problem with this CD at all. And I don't know, to me, I think just that kind of audience response, that energy. One of my favorite live CDs is the P-Funk, the Earth Tour, that album from 1977. And the track Dr. Funkenstein, when they played that live. And the audience, they true funketeers, they know some Dr. Funkenstein. And it's like, P-Funk didn't have to sing a note. They just doom 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 doom. And it's just like I said, they didn't even have to sing a note. It was just that whole stadium was, we love to funk you, Funkenstein. Your funk is the best. Take my body, give it to mine to funk with the rest. Hit me with the one and then back, hit me again. We love to Funkenstein. Oh, baby. Man, I mean, that energy, that you just feel that, on record. I mean, I've listened to a lot of live recordings, and it's just like, okay, yeah, it's live. The audience is there. Yeah, they're happy to be there. And, it's a great performance. It doesn't take away from, whoever, whether it's like, I've got a couple of Marvin Gaye live CDs. Can't think of who else offhand that I have live. Oh, some Hendrix. Got a lot of Hendrix live. Some Dylan live. Sly and the Oh, that's another one. Sly and the Family Stone, Woodstock. I got the vinyl to that. That energy is effective. See, a lot of I don't want to get racial on it, but really, honestly, Sly and the Family Stone, they stole Woodstock. Nothing against anybody else that was jamming at Woodstock, but it's kind of like when they want to prop up the brother, they always prop up Hendrix, which that wasn't his best band lineup, and really people just remember the Star Spangled Banner bit. But that complete performance does exist of Sly and the Family Stone's set. So, I mean, check that out. Like I said, that energy. James Brown. I got a lot of James Brown stuff live too. And yeah, that audience participation is no joke. So to hear that, on an official Prince release, that's not One Night Alone live, to me that'd probably be the next best thing as far as that energy you hear from the audience. Again, this is the gold standard. Crazy amazing, ain't it? But yeah, I'm going to be judging every standalone live release, and maybe whatever's included in a box set. I'm going to be judging it on this from this point forward. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this CD. I was wrestling with getting the vinyl. I might get it down the road. Right now. But yeah, like I said, this wouldn't have been my first choice for a standalone live release, but I'm not mad they did this. And believe me, it was more than, I didn't know I wanted this. I just thought, I'll get the CD and just kind of start there. And I'm glad I did. But what do you guys think? Did you pick this up? Did you get the CD? Did you get the vinyl? If I do get around to getting the vinyl at some point, I'll do a CD vinyl comparison of that at some point. But I haven't checked out the Blu-ray yet still. I'll try to do that at some point over the course of the week and may do a reaction to that. But what do you guys think of the set as a whole, at least sonically, the CD version or the vinyl? You think they stepped up their game on this? Do you think they can do better? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. All right, so moving on to the next topic. As this is airing, Prince Celebration at Paisley Park 2022 is in everybody's rearview mirror. I've been checking out a lot of the social media stuff, props to Violet Reality for being picked to be the sort of official commentators of the event. Haven't really had a chance to really dive into their videos, but I've been seeing a lot of Casey's social or tweets that he's been posting, and I've seen other folks, a lot of Darling Niecy's stuff that she's been putting up there, a lot of the fan base, some other podcasters that were in attendance, and y'all are having a good time, and I'm jealous, and I wish I could have been there to celebrate with you guys, but like I said, there's a lot going on here, and a lot of places I'm trying to get to, and there's some places I'm trying to get away from. And like I said, if I can get my phase 1 together, and if we can get phase 2 to kind of bring in some success, then I will join you guys. If not the next one, definitely the one after that. But yeah, just from what I've been seeing on the social media post, this is probably among maybe the best ones. But like I said, there'll be a lot of podcasters that will probably devote episodes to it and their reactions and their likes, their dislikes. But, for the fan base as a whole, I'm glad that that's something that exists that would allow all of us, like I said, podcasters and the fan base and, the interaction. And like I said, we can all be a singularity at that point. And, like I say, just celebrate and have some good times, have some laughs, have some memories, enjoy the speakers, enjoy the presentations, the concerts. I will say this, damn good lineup, Maserati, the NPG, I forget who else as far as performers, but Jill Jones was a speaker, Maite, Randy St. Nicholas, Dwayne Tudor. Great. It sounds the perfect, the perfect weekend. Like I was saying earlier, I hope it was cathartic for a lot of people. The first one since before the pandemic. And hope, glad that, if this was your only chance to get out or your first chance to get out after 2 years of being in the shadows and masking up and trying to stay healthy and stay alive. And, and then there's still so much going on in the world that, we need a little bit of purple sunshine, at least for us, the Prince Musical Singularity. So I'm glad this is back in full effect. And like I said, looking forward to many, many more. Or, hopefully maybe before or after a celebration at some point, I'd like to just hang out, non-celebration, just to soak up Paisley Park, take the tour and see the sights. It's been a long time since I've been in Minneapolis. I used to go a lot years ago. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that once again. So, but I don't know if any of you guys that listen to Amari Purple Talk, if you had a chance to attend, please share your thoughts, share your memories, details, or how it made you feel. Like I said, just going to have a good time, a well-needed vacation, or, just some kind of purple spiritual healing, for you. Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And we're going to move on to our final topic, which is discussing the Prince Immersive event in Chicago that is taking place. It will be going on for a couple of more days through June 9th. The event is located at 540 Michigan Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. For information and to get tickets, you go to princetheexperience.com. And I'll put that link up in the show notes. But again, Chicago's really a hop, skip, and a jump away from me. But like I said, there's so much that is going on to where, like I said, this is sort of where the Coles in this household, it's like it's our time to shine, folks. We see our friends and our relatives and everyone's living their best life and going places and doing stuff, and I'm shackled by, I'm, like I said, I feel like I should change my name to an unpronounceable symbol. I should write slave on my face. And what I do at my non-essential is basically contract obligation. It's not rewarding. It's a blessing that it keeps a roof over one's head. But as I pointed out in earlier episodes, responsibility, there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes not at the expense of your divine purpose, folks. So that being said, it's just time. Like I said, there's some folks that got across the finish line, and thank God they did. And that part was well worth the sacrifice. Believe you me, this was the last place I thought I would end up. I've had it good, very good at other positions, but now I'm at an age to where those type of places probably won't take me on. Better to pay somebody younger or whatever. And I think it's just time to follow my own dad's footsteps. Not necessarily what he did as a business owner, but to take that example with my own thing. If anybody reads the Celestine Prophecy, where you take your parents' worldview, you integrate those positive qualities into your own journey to create your own path. And that is the true, or part of the true nature of evolution in that regard. So to make Amari Communications that sort of foundation for my spirituality, my education, my economic freedom and ownership, then the exodus has begun. New power, generation after generation, soul will never die. So, so that being said, like I said, Chicago's a hop, skipping, jumping away. And that's another thing that, it's like I'm looking at that like, I hate missing out on this. Hopefully, it generates enough success. I know they've discussed maybe doing this in other cities. And you best believe if it comes to this town, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna check it out, and I'll devote an episode to it, and maybe hopefully talk to some of the organizers, maybe have them on the show to discuss it. Maybe, hopefully, even before then. Maybe I have to reach out to the folks in charge of that, and try to make that happen. If not season 3, then definitely season 4 for sure. But yeah, kind of this is from their website. Again, it's princetheexperience.com. It's created by Superfly and the Prince Estate. The Experience is an interactive celebration of the iconic artist's life and legacy. Lose yourself on an interactive trip through the music and life of Prince. Journey through 10 multidimensional spaces and explore a purple universe where you will step inside the iconic Purple Rain album cover, play music producer and mix one of Prince's greatest hits in Studio A, get down to an audiovisual dance party, and much more. Prince, the Immersive Experience, is a multi-sensory celebration of this musical genius. And again, that is open through June 9th. So if you can make your way to the Chicago area, by all means, check it out. Like I said, hopefully they can make the rounds to other cities. So if you're like me, unable to make it to Chicago at this juncture, then hopefully the party can come to you or come to me. And like I say, let's hope for its success. And that is going to wrap up this episode of Amari Purple Talk. Like I said, I wanted to just do, like I said, I didn't want to kind of just do a by the numbers. In 1985, Prince did this, and then in 2004, he did that. And, I didn't want to bore anybody with any stories or anecdotes. Like I said, as they come up in relationship to certain topics, if they're relevant, cool. If I find them where they can be entertaining, that's cool too. But yeah, also too, like I said, because of just the way my schedule has gotten so weird, and with the weirdness, like I said, you being short-staffed and you're doing twice as much of the work, and we're all burned out, and we kind of like this little team, this little almost kind of like family, almost, to where, we're the only ones dumb enough to show up every day. Where other people have been like, screw this, I'm up out, and it's it's gotten heavy, and it's affecting my brand, so to speak. And it just has to change. It really does. And I enjoy doing this show. The things I do in relationship to Amari Communications, it's back to, whether being a teenager or being in art school and college, anything I'd done like as a freelance photographer, that's probably been the most successful of all my creative endeavors. But I stopped doing freelance photography in 2009 for a variety of reasons. This particular location, I don't want to spend time being negative or end this episode on a negative note, but there's just not a lot that really truly goes on, at least not for people like me, so to speak. There's artists that thrive, but then there's some very creative or talented people. Just the dynamics here, it's either forced them to go so underground that it's just like, hey, I'm just doing this, and what paper I get. And then there are those that leave for greener pastures, whether they go to Atlanta, or whether they go to Austin, or whether they go to Seattle, or whether they go to California or New York, that type of thing, and the non-essential, besides the camaraderie and the solidarity of the people that I work with, we're, like, it's like a war movie, or it's like a MASH episode, it's kind of like that. But beyond that, beyond people that I've known since whatever, grade school, high school, college, beyond those wonderful, beautiful individuals, in relationship to my non-essential, now there's other places I've been where I've met some very genuine souls, and if I haven't aided them on a journey, they've aided me on the journey through this world, this universe. In the last 10 years, I have not experienced that. And as 10 years has turned to 11 years or whatever, it can erode on your soul. But based on things that I've learned the last 20, 25 years, even longer than that, living in California to me was one of the greatest learning curve, the first great learning curve of my life. So all of that to say, this is that if you go through, you wake up and you find yourself 10 years later, and what you're doing to keep a roof over your head has not generated one single solitary individual that has come in, and like I said, there's nothing that I've given them that has given any, maybe some of the people I work with, maybe, but the people that we deal with, no. And I don't feel like I've made a single solitary difference in any individual that has come through that door and has been met with indifference, intolerance, stupidity, most of it racially motivated. I'm used to creating things that brought people joy, in all, from 86 to 2009 as a freelance photographer, I've only had 2 dissatisfied customers, only 2. If ever I've drawn something, the way people's faces would light up drawing it. Music I haven't exposed to a lot of people except recently. But, even that, somebody's had something positive to say. It may not be technically proficient, but, it's good organized noise, and I enjoy making it. but it's just really time to, kind of do, my act 3 or whatever you want to call it. And, let's make some noise, let's do this. Like I said, take a page from my father's example, and it's like, put some distance between this negativity. But that being said, folks, you guys have been the motivator to where, yeah, if I don't do an episode of this show, I feel it. If I'm at the non-essential and it's like, damn it, I haven't had time to do an episode, I feel it. Damn it, I haven't had time to finish penciling a page of a comic book yet, or getting around to doing the inks, the colors, all of it. It's like, oh, damn it, I've given all this energy to some, elitist, racist asshole, or a corporation that's, where the executives are so inert, because it's like, yeah, what do they know? You hired somebody that might have been selling toilet paper at one place, but just because they were great as an executive of a toilet paper company, you hire them for this one. But they know nothing about the intricacies that could make what we do more effective. All of that energy has been sucked away, and I can't do something that can bring joy to where I know I can bring people joy and fun and excitement. So yeah, that is definitely something that has to change. And again, we're celebrating the anniversary of Prince's birth, and what was his manifesto that he was trying to get to with the Beautiful Ones book. Freedom, ownership, and the definition of funk. And that's something I have taken to heart, especially since reading that book. And I think from the great beyond, it's not just me, a lot of us. I think it's time that, we started, living that example. It's not just, not putting him on the pedestal, but if he was utilizing his fame and his position to set an example, then whatever it is that you want to do in life, there's no law that says that you can't pursue that, as long as it's, positive and it's helping people, or it's making you feel better as a person, if it's not hurting people or harming people or killing people, then you have a divine right to follow your divine purpose. Again, there's 7 billion of us trying to get to the same place at different speeds, different times, different incarnations. So like I said, I'm grateful to each and every one of you out there. Please continue to support the whole Amari Communications, I don't know what you want to call it, repertoire, or the whole Amari Communications experience. There's a lot of exciting stuff. Like I said, trying to get phase 1 to the, all of it done by the end of the year, and roll into next year with phase 2. And the way you can help do that, Amari Communications merchandise, please support. We Funk t-shirts. They have the We Funk single on Bandcamp. Even Save Yourself. It's more avant-garde than We Funk. We Funk's a little bit more commercial. But yeah, just even if you go on Bandcamp, just give $1 or whatever you feel like doing. That helps me to where I can keep doing this show on a consistent basis. All of it, the t-shirts, everything. Hopefully stuff I can drop later with either phase 1 or phase 2. All of that can buy me the time I can not be at that non-essential, and not even have to, I could take the time off and not even have to worry about, am I, vacation time, sick time, whatever. Help me put some distance between that. It has to go. I have to get out of it. But like I said, I enjoy doing this every week. And like I say, when I don't do an episode, people are like, hey, where you been? What you doing? When's the next episode? There's a lot of outlets, whether it's Complications with the Libsyn Network or the guidelines have changed, like in the case of maybe Apple or something, that I have to focus time and make sure that this show gets back to those areas to where people can tune in, because I get a lot of questions about that too. So by all means, like, subscribe, download, share the content. Can't say how grateful I am for each and everybody that tunes in each week. And I want to give better quality to the show. And also, too, a lot of stuff I put out. Creating in a vacuum. Prince said it himself. Creating in a vacuum is rough. And, you know, like I said, just want to do good stuff. So, again, tune into the next episode. Hey, let me know what you want to hear for the next CD versus vinyl video also. Or if you have topic ideas and suggestions, please hit up AmariCommunications.com, fill out the form, submit your question or topic, and your question or topic just might be addressed in a future episode. So until then, create your day and create your life. Peace.
People, we're the purple party people now. Time to get on the one. Keep it on the one. So we're all the purple party people now.